Okay, we are here this morning with Richey from Blitzpredict. I'm Rebecca Hope from Block News. Very excited to talk with you today about your sports betting company. Let's just start off with understanding the history of how this came together and the vision of this project.
Okay, sure. Thank you for having me. The company started in early 2015 as a mobile app for FanDuel and DraftKings users. We wanted to basically help the more casual players compete with the pros in the contests, and most of the tools were web-based, antiquated platforms, I would say, and so we wanted to build a mobile app, which we did build, but that market really cooled off between the start of 2015 and then, say, late 2016, and so the whole plan was to build a sportsbook aggregator in anticipation of legalized sports betting in the U.S. The roadmap was DFS to legalized sports betting, and then at the start of 2017, the daily fantasy markets just weren't exciting, and for us to sort of kind of tread water, hoping legalized sports betting would come about, didn't really make sense. And looking at what was going on in the blockchain markets, the crypto markets, they were so much more exciting, so we decided to go in and build the product that we wanted to build as our long-term vision and just go into crypto and do it there instead of waiting for the Supreme Court ruling that ended up coming in 2018. So a lot of the first half of 2017 was really crystallizing the vision, our developers learning Solidity, really just learning about the ecosystem, and then the second half of 2017 was preparing for the ICO, which was then done in the first part of 2018. And since then, we've launched our platform, we've grown our user base, and then we keep issuing updates pretty much every week.
So in a nutshell, basically, it's a more trusted way of betting in sport, right?
Yes, that's certainly the long-term vision. Right now, it's definitely, you can get trusted information because everybody's prediction, whether it's an expert that is basically just making their own prediction, whether it is a data scientist sharing his model, all of their predictions are time-stamped against true market odds and recorded to the Ethereum blockchain. So you can never lie about your record, delete losses from your record. You can't say that you got +4 points if the line only hit +2. And it's a verifiable way to determine who is actually going to make winning predictions over a large sample.
You started off your career back in the day as a philosophy graduate. Is that correct?
Yes, I went into college as a math major, or potential math major. I didn't really like the math department. I went to a small liberal arts school, which might have been a mistake as a math major, but I ended up switching to philosophy, which I liked more. And also during that time, I started playing poker. So you can actually say I more majored in poker. Academics were okay in college, but I already knew what I was going to do after, which was poker. So that definitely took a fair amount of my time. And I wasn't even necessarily very good when I graduated, but I could just tell how rapidly I was progressing. And I really enjoyed the game. So I became a pro poker player out of college up until 2015 when I moved to Vegas to quit playing poker and then start the mobile DFS app.
So from philosophy to or mathematics, philosophy, poker, and now sport betting.
Yes.
Tell us more about the blockchain technology and how it's actually developed.
So the way we do it is in our platform, if somebody comes on and makes a prediction, what we do is we record a hash of that prediction and we send the hash to the Ethereum blockchain because we want to incentivize the strongest experts, the strongest data scientists to use our platform using our token XBP. And if we send the actual prediction to the Ethereum blockchain before the match starts, now there's no incentive for someone to use our token to access that information. They can just go to the block and look it up. Obviously, that's more of an expert move. A lot of the average people would still just do it the regular way. But we record the hash, send the hash to the blockchain, and if the prediction changes, then the hash changes. So you know as long as the hash on our site and the hash on the blockchain is the same, then it is going to be verifiably true information. And then once the match starts, we send the actual prediction to the blockchain. So there's always going to be a record of what each expert's predictions are.
So you saw quite a lot of fraud and bad activity happening online in this space, right?
Yes, and this is one of the reasons sports betting is becoming legalized realized is because it's this massive industry anyway. Estimated 400 billion is bet illegally in the U.S. every year, and so it's essentially prohibition didn't work. Okay, people are going to bet sports no matter what. Now they're betting with bookies, where theoretically maybe there could be some crime involved. Certainly, people can get stiffed on both sides of the fence there. Offshore books in the Caribbean, again, sometimes they go under. I learned that in poker. I lost money on sites where I just played money and then they were using customer deposits as operating funds, or they just straight up took the money as a sort of exit scam. And when you're operating outside of the law of the U.S. government, they can come in and seize your funds. They can do all these things to stop the banking that these sites use.
Right.
So you're always taking a risk when you're gambling with some of these gray or black market operators. And so certainly blockchain technology can help that. But for us, we're not focused on allowing a U.S. person to bet illegally. Like, the U.S. market's opening up, and it's really important for us to be a good actor because that market is really massive, and that's where...
And you want to have a safe platform, right? That's the main thing.
What's that?
You want a safe platform where everything's out in the open, where you know that whatever you're betting, you can see, you can verify the data. It's all out there in the open, right?
Yeah, and so in terms of that, we're only dealing with, for example, in the U.S., as the U.S. market opens up, we're only going to deal... A U.S. customer is going to see the sports books that are legal in the U.S. that he can access. It's not about taking him to these sort of shadier things. It's about aggregating. So we take every data feed from legitimate bookmakers and we aggregate all of their odds feeds. So it's actually, our platform looks like it's one sports book, but we're launching the aggregator later this month. It's going to be essentially every sports book in one, where you can just come to, it's similar to like a kayak if you want to book a flight. They have all the airlines underneath them. You really just want the cheapest price for the flight.
Yeah.
For us, you just want the best odds on a match. You don't necessarily care whether it's at William Hill or Ladbrokes. You want the extra half point,
right.
And that's what we provide to our users in just a streamlined, really friendly way.
So when exactly was this launched?
We launched right at the end of the token sale in mid to late March. We launched I would say a very rough beta, but there was a functional use for the token, which is really important to release tokens. They have to be able to be used, and so you could purchase information from experts. And then since then, we spent about 3 months in beta, and then at the start of the World Cup, we launched our main platform, which is where we were recording predictions to the blockchain, and we're launching the aggregator later this month, which is one of our core functionalities. We have esports coming in August. We are preparing for the NFL season. And then we are gonna have tournaments later this year, probably early middle NFL season timeline, where people can essentially earn tokens or even other prizes, potentially other companies' tokens as well, Ethereum, Bitcoin, different maybe experiences, and you can use our token, our native token, XBP. Essentially, you stake tokens for a certain amount of time frame to gain entry into a token. So there's no cost other than locking up tokens for a certain amount of time, but it's not like it's not a gambling site where you actually are risking anything.
What do you expect to see within the next 2 to 5 years?
Well, one, I think in the U.S. we'll see at least 40 states opt in to offering sports betting. I think that there's some chance, probably a reasonable chance, of simply an overall federal framework, which is what the sports leagues are pushing for. That would be way better, especially with the Wire Act. It's just annoying having all the different states opting in potentially with different rules. It would be much better to have one framework, but we're prepared. However it comes about, we're going to be prepared. And essentially, at first, we want to be the first place that a sports bettor or esports bettor goes. But our long-term vision is to be the only place that they go.
Because there's nothing like this, right? I mean, what would be the closest website that you've seen to what you're kind of looking at doing?
There's a few, I would say, that are sort of indirect competitors. Sites like OddsChecker or OddsShark, they're aggregators that sort of aggregate the space, and they'll have some articles, and then you can kind of click through and find out where to bet and sign up for sites. There's sites like Covers and Pregame that have experts on their platform that sell their picks, and they have articles. And then there's sort of the analytics sites like Sports Insights, where they'll look at different betting trends and some competitors out there. I think we have a pretty strong technical advantage. We have a very strong technical team, and I think that we can. I think we're going to be the place that people are going to want to go to.
Right.
Eventually.
Now let's talk about Ethereum. So your whole platform is built on Ethereum.
Not entirely. We use Ethereum for the blockchain aspects of our platform.
Okay.
But it's important with the scalability issues now that we don't just put everything on the blockchain because it's not going to scale right now. So for example, the aggregator, we're aggregating all these different betting odds. That has to be instant. It would make no sense to use Ethereum for that. So that's just a straight up regular technical approach.
Yes.
Reporting predictions to the blockchain, that's going to be, that is on Ethereum right now. We record the predictions to the Ethereum blockchain. We're coming out with a smart contract betting feature later this year where you can say a line is -7, Patriots -7, and you want, if the line moves to 6, you can set up a smart contract to bet. So you could say, okay, if the line is at 7, all right, if it gets to -6 anywhere in the marketplace, bet 10,000 XBP or bet 2 Ethereum. And any of our partners that are going to accept smart contract betting, that contract will just execute if any of them hit 6. And then the good news there is the operators can see these smart contracts. And so it helps make the entire space more efficient because sites now can say, oh, if I move my line half a point, I know there's 500K or whatever of value waiting for me there. I think that's worth it to sort of balance my book. And it just makes the entire space more efficient, which I think is a big positive.
Very important. Yeah. And then from a investment perspective, what was your initial capital? How did you rely mainly on tokens or?
So we started again in the daily fantasy company. We raised equity, and then we did in November of 2017, we did our seed round, which was selling 5% of the token supply to fund the ICO, and then we did a pre-sale in January to sell more tokens, and then the main sale in up through March is what we did.
Good. And for the future, you're hoping to rely mainly on tokens?
Yeah, the token is extremely important for the platform. The company holds tokens, and incentivizing, like one of the main things we're working on right now that we plan to have in ahead of NFL is a fiat to XBP on-ramp within our platform, and there's a few options out there, and we've gotten a legal opinion on a couple ways that we can operate it ourselves, and then there are some services out there that do it. So I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to offer that because if we're only accessible to the maybe 1 to 2% of the sports betting enthusiasts that are also knowledgeable enough about crypto to go to Coinbase and buy Bitcoin and send it to Cryptopia and buy XBP and send it to our platform, there's so much friction in that experience. We need to, every step we can reduce friction in is going to increase adoption 10x.
Right.
And the goal is somebody can just come in with their credit card, get XBP, use it on our platform.
Right.
And that's what we're working
Simple.
toward. That's one of our main focuses.
Bet for their favorite team. Who's your favorite teams? What sport do you follow?
Pittsburgh Steelers. I grew up in Pittsburgh, so Steelers and Pirates, and then Oklahoma City Thunder, and then the Vegas Golden Knights because it's the first team out here in Vegas. So
So
they
you
had
might
a
as
pretty
well.
cool story this year.
Okay, cool. And then you were saying earlier to me that your approach is kind of software driven. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we have, I would say for a while, it was back on the Daily Fantasy app, it was just me and 4 developers. So we've always been really focused on the technical side of things. Our CTO dropped out of college at 19 to go work for Microsoft. He's 42 now, really experienced developer. We have another former Microsoft guy, and then all 4 of these developers, which we're actually up to 5 now, but the original 4 had all worked together at a previous startup in Minneapolis and then on our Daily Fantasy app. So they have over 5 years of experience working together, which is really valuable because they just know how to work and move fast. And so any app nowadays needs to be beautiful, it needs to work fast, it needs to be powerful, and it needs to be able to scale as more people come on and use it. And consumers are very demanding now. And in my opinion, a lot of the sports betting space is about 10 years behind the almost any other space. And so we want to take that software approach where we're bringing this beautiful, powerful app to people
to the next level.
That's what they demand now.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a website that looks like it was built in 2005. So that's why we're taking a much more, I would say, software-driven approach as opposed to the content, which we have content too. SEO is important to us, but I believe without that beautiful experience, you're just not going to retain users.
Okay, so let's talk about the users. How do they just sign up easily and can start betting? Go to your website?
We don't have betting activated in the platform yet.
Okay.
We started with information basically due to the US laws, which are changing, but it's a bit of work to integrate betting solutions into the platform when only some countries can use it.
Right.
So that's on our roadmap to integrate betting, even if it's not going to be active in the US. The US user may have a different experience at first. But right now, what you can do, sign up for an account easily, and you can come on and view experts' records. You can see their predictions. You can essentially either get some free predictions or pay for some of them. Also, we're going to have the aggregator in later this month, so you can even come in and see essentially where the best place to bet is. And it's already pretty cool. We've seen a lot of just 1 cent spread between plus 116 to minus 117 lines, just testing out our aggregator already with only the initial 10 or so sports books in, and then we're just going to keep adding more sports books as soon as we vet them and can verify that they're going to be like a legitimate site that we're comfortable sending users to. We're going to start incorporating links. Right now we're just showing you the odds, but once we can vet each site, we're going to have the link in where you can just, I like that bet, I click it, and now boom, you can just go bet it.
Fantastic. So it's easy. I mean, it's really easy from the user's perspective, and you can see everything there. You can check out the predictions. It's a space. It's a forward going space, right? There's nothing like this. So
that's true. There's nothing like this. And again, ease of use is one of our core focuses. I would say we're still a bit away from saying this is so easy, just come on and you'll just figure it all out. The goal, certainly by NFL, it should be pretty easy to use once we have the betting implemented. But that's part of the fun thing about the ICO, and what a lot of our community has embraced is that they get to be a part of this sort of journey from a startup's beginnings and see under the hood, instead of just us operating off in a stealth mode or something. We're putting out updates every week. We're doing video tutorials. People can see that progress, and some people really enjoy that. Other people essentially are going to be like waiting for a more polished product, which is cool too. But I don't want to overpromise at this stage. I think it's a pretty cool platform right now, but in terms of getting that mass user growth and adoption, it's not ready for that yet. But it will be soon.
Yeah, but I like it. I mean, it's what you guys are doing is amazing, and it's so great to speak to you. Thank you for sharing with us. And then, what's next now for the short term?
Short term, aggregator is our main focus this month. We're launching our aggregator, and then esports in August ahead of the Dota 2 International. Esports is one of our biggest focuses. It is just growing so fast. It's really exciting. I think it's going to be probably if you look at the entire esports industry, it might be number 1 in terms of betting volume. It certainly is going to be top 3 pretty soon, and I think that it's just an exciting space. We've hired a pro CSGO streamer who's our head of esports, and it's just pretty cool getting into that space. So I'm excited for esports, and then of course the NFL season is always really big in the US.
Right, lots of good things ahead. Thank you so much, Brett. We're talking to Brett Richey from Blitzpredict. Go check out their website. I'm Rebecca Hope from Block News. It was great chatting with you, and hope you don't get killed by the heat wave there in Vegas.